Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current latest news. So if you do consider dropping likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So according to reports from Brazil, Manchester United have made contact with Fluminense over the potential move for Pedro. Now I've read some of the articles about these narratives and what's going on with Pedro, and reportedly it does say now Manchester United are interested in the player. It does also mention, reflecting back last year, he was close to currently joining Real Madrid, but his serious knee ligament injury he had sustained. His move to Real Madrid had currently never materialised. I think he's available for around £22 million as his player. I think he's been in Fluminense's senior squad for about 3 years now, because he made his senior debut 3 years ago. I think he scored like 17 goals in 50 games, for the Brazilian club. So there has been talks about him going on in the last couple of days. So Manchester United have made contacts with Fluminense over the potential move for the player. He is a centre forward. He's only 21 years of age, so still very, very young. Still got a lot of development in him. And so I don't really know much about this player, to be quite honest with you. I don't think it says in the Metro that Fluminense are willing to sell him up until after their president election on June the 8th. So yeah, he's reportedly now on Manchester United's agenda, because I do believe we need a forward. We need someone that can score goals, of course, someone that can lead them lines, because that's been one of our problems, to be quite honest. We haven't been scoring enough goals, we haven't been ruthless enough in front of goal, we haven't been clinical enough in the final third, and I do believe that we do need a forward, that can come in, that can score goals for us, of course. But I don't really know much about this Pedro, but I know he's 21 years of age, and obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has worked out his transfer strategy for this summer. He wants to recommend a number of young players, that can come in, grow, develop and emulate in superstars and young players that have got great potential. So Solskjaer, from his own perspective, is not intending on bringing any short-term players to the club. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still believes we can attract players to the highest level, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next season. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was saying towards the back end of the season, even though we're not in Champions League football, he did say that he had been contacted by a number of agents, saying that their players, do currently want to come to Manchester United. This player, I think, Pedro, I think is available, as I said, for around £22 million. So that is a reasonable figure. And so maybe we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer, because we do know there's quite a lot of players on our agenda that are currently available for a reasonable figure, of course. And Solskjaer wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the club this summer. A report he's going to get a spending spree of around £250 million. We are expected to orchestrate a big summer clear out, so we do need a summer clear out. Obviously, all the players that we do want to go, we're not going to be able to address this problem in one window. It's going to take a couple of windows to currently resolve that problem. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. Obviously, none of this squad is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's inheriting 11 of Jose Mourinho's players. There's players here from Van Gaal, there's Mari from the David Moyes era. There's still 5 players here from the Alex Ferguson era. And I do know a lot of money has been spent at the club, since Alex Ferguson retired. I've had different managers, with different philosophies, and I think £700 million has been currently spent. So, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the process of currently building. But as I did say, the club is still looking to hire a director of football, and obviously want to get this director of football in before the start of next season, because obviously, to change the structure of the club, obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is currently going to need backing. But it's very, very important that we do get the right recruitment this summer, because analysing our recruitment policy is very, very poor. And obviously, the likes of City are probably going to invest this summer, probably Liverpool are going to invest this summer, probably Arsenal are going to invest this summer. So we do need to get the right recruitment, because at the moment City are strides ahead of us, Liverpool strides ahead of us, and I do believe we're at least 3 or 4 years off, from mounting any kind of title challenge up. And I do believe at least in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations is going to be fighting for that current top 4. But yeah, he has been mentioned in the last couple of days as this Pedro. Manchester United have made contact with this Fluminense, if I have actually pronounced their name right. He's only 21 years of age. I think he's tall as well, and and he's been in Fluminense's senior squad for 3 years as this player. But yeah, they're not willing to sell him anywhere until after their presidential election on the 8th of June. So obviously, even if we want to get a deal over the line for him, we're not going to be able to do it until after the 8th of June. So there has been a lot of talks about him, but he was on the brink of joining Real Madrid last year up until he sustained a serious knee ligament injury. And other news to give you an update on is in regards to the situation with David De Gea. Now, reportedly, Manchester United are not intending on buying a goalkeeper, to replace David De Gea. Of course, if De Gea leaves the club, if De Gea leaves the club, and obviously, that's looking very, very likely now. That's currently going to happen. Obviously, reports came out yesterday saying that De Gea, as he updated you on, had turned down a final contract offer from Manchester United, because Man United had been in talks, for some time now, to try and get David De Gea a new contract term at the club, to try and get David De Gea a new contract term at the club, but obviously we haven't got him a new contract. I think it did say David De Gea is demanding around £350,000 a week from Manchester United. Manchester United are reportedly not willing to meet his current wage demands, and this is why we haven't come to an agreement to get him a new contract. So we do know that he's attracted interest from PSG as David De Gea. Obviously we do know that Real Madrid have been long admirers of him. I think now PSG, of course, are willing to are planning to put a bid in of around £60 million for him. Obviously the £350,000 a week is demanding for Manchester United to sign a new contract. It did say PSG are willing to meet them current figures, so I do believe if he does leave, which looks very realistic, I do believe he will make the move to PSG. And then there again, it did say PSG, were intending on getting De Gea on a free transfer next year, because that could actually, tempt them, to offer him a bigger salary. But it would be a calamity, if we let David De Gea go on a free transfer next year. I don't want him to go at all, and I wanted to come to an agreement to get him a new contract, De Gea, because he's potentially, the best goalkeeper in the world. But as I did say, we might as well cash in for him this summer rather than letting go on a free transfer next year. And I think we can get around 60 or 70 million pounds for him. We do know he's worth more. I'd say full value for the goalkeeper, he's worth around 100 million pounds. But obviously he's only got a year left on his contract, so we're not going to get 100 million pounds for David De Gea. David De Gea has been a great servant to the club. He has been here 8 years. He has made over 300 appearances in all competitions. He's won everything. He's won everything here domestically. I think he's won the club's player of the year 4 times out of the last 6 seasons as De Gea. But yeah, obviously we haven't come to an agreement to get him a new contract. And this has been a problem with Manchester United. We've been letting far too many players' contracts run down. Rashford's in the final year of his deal. Obviously, Matt's coming to the end of his deal. Obviously, we've let Ander Herrera go on a free transfer. But this is a thing I don't understand. Why we give Smalling a new long-term contract? Why we give Jones a new long-term contract? Why we give Ash Young a new one-year extension? So that is a bad judgment for Manchester United. But De Gea, as I said, he's been fantastic. He's been here 8 years, of course, and he hasn't really stepped a foot out of line. I know towards the back end of the season he was making quite a few costly mistakes, was De Gea, but I think that was mainly to do, with the contractual situation. But it's looking likely, De Gea is currently going to be going. But I don't think now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is intending on buying a goalkeeper to replace him. I think we are now willing to promote Sergio Romero as our number 1 goalkeeper for next season if David De Gea currently leaves. And I don't know if Sergio Romero, if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to be really honest with you now, I don't know if Sergio Romero at this moment in time is reliable enough, to become our number 1 goalkeeper. So from my own perspective, if De Gea leaves, which is looking very, very likely, I think we need a current replacement for him. We obviously have got the likes of Dean Henderson. He's been on loan at Sheffield United, but I don't think he's really got the experience yet. Obviously we've got the likes of Lee Grant and all that, but yeah, so if De Gea leaves, I do believe we're going to need a current replacement for him. But it's looking like I think he's going to be making the move to PSG. It's David De Gea, so I think he could be reuniting with Ander Herrera at Paris Saint-Germain. Obviously, reflecting back in 2015, Real Madrid were on the brink of getting him, but due to a current fax machine, the deal never currently materialised. But yeah, he has been fantastic for Manchester United as De Gea. But now reportedly we're not intending on buying a goalkeeper to replace him. We're willing to put Sergio Romero as our number 1 goalkeeper for next season. Obviously, as you all know, there has been a few names that that could replace David De Gea. Obviously there was talks, was it quite a few days ago now, or was it last week, about Andrea Onana, from Ajax, the Ajax goalkeeper. Obviously has had 3 years worth of experience, 3 years worth of experience as Ajax's starting goalkeeper, 23 years of age. I think he's initially valued at around 35 or 40 million pounds. It did allegedly say that Manchester United had a 35 million pound bid turned down for him, so he also got mentioned. Also too, Jordan Pickford's also been mentioned in the past. that he could possibly, replace David De Gea. We do know that John O'Blank got mentioned about 5 weeks ago as well, so he currently got mentioned. So there has been a few names thrown into the hat, who could replace David De Gea at the club. But now, according to the Daily Mail, we're not intending on buying a goalkeeper to replace David De Gea. But like I said, we cash in for the likes of De Gea, we cash in for the likes of Pogba, we cash in for the likes of Lukaku. It's going to help us with our transition, and it will help us with our rebuilding process, because as you all know, our spending spree is £250 million. We could get, £200 million plus for Lukaku and Pogba, £60-70 million, for De Gea. So that's going to make our spending spree to around, I'd say around £500 million, to spend, of course. And that's the latest news to currently give you an update on that. Also news in regards to Wan-Bissaka, as I updated you on yesterday. So he has been subjected to quite a bit of transfer speculation as Wan-Bissaka. Obviously he's been on our agenda for quite some time now. Obviously Tottenham have been linked to him. Manchester City have also been linked with a young English fullback. Reports were coming out yesterday saying that Manchester United submitted a bid of around £25 million for Wan-Bissaka. Obviously he's predominantly a right back, of course. Obviously, he has been in Crystal Palace's senior squad for like about 14-15 months now, because he only made his first team debut for them in February of 2018. Did Wan-Bissaka. But yeah, reportedly Manchester United had submitted a bid of around £25 million for the player. But this is obviously not going to be enough, to convince Crystal Palace to do any business. I think Crystal Palace are demanding that they want around 50 or 60 million pounds for him. So that is the quoted fee that Crystal Palace are demanding. But only 21 years of age, has still got a lot of years ahead of him. And and I do really like him. He's also British, and that obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has emphasised an interest in quite a few British players. But yeah, he is now regarded as one of the best right backs in the Premier League. Obviously, so far he has spent the entirety of his career with Crystal Palace. But maybe Wan-Bissaka, wants to take his career to the next level. Well, initially, when he was a lot younger, he actually started off as a winner, did Wan-Bissaka, and then he actually got rotated to a right back, and he has done really well. But yeah, I think he'd be fantastic at Manchester United. I think he'd be a great replacement for Valencia. I think he'd be a great upgrade to Ashley Young, and I do think he'd be good covered up for Diego Dalot. And obviously, Diego Dalot is the upcoming future, as you all know. But as I said, we still need a cover up for him, and I think Wan-Bissaka, would be the right solution. I think he's got the abilities, to elevate Manchester United at least in the next 2 to 3 years. So yeah, I really would like Wan-Bissaka at Manchester United. So we have now stepped our interest up in him. We have submitted a bid of around £25 million, where we are the first team to put an initial bid in for him. But City are interested in him, obviously Tottenham are interested in him, and obviously a player of Wan-Bissaka's, level and calibre, obviously for him, the more attractive option, would be at, Manchester City or currently Tottenham. But Manchester United, of course, are in there for him. So that's the latest news to give you an update on that. News about Juventus' Paulo Dybala. Now, reports are saying that Manchester United have been in negotiations with Paulo Dybala for like a month or so now. Obviously, he has been on Manchester United's agenda as Paulo Dybala, but I don't know if he'd be the right solution for Manchester United. As I did tell you, was it a week or so ago, that I have got strong reservations about Paulo Dybala. When it comes to his defensive contribution, some of his touches, concern me. But Dybala, can still score goals, as he has proven it in this 4-year period with Juventus. Obviously, throughout the course of this season, he's enjoyed a very difficult time as Paulo Dybala. He's enjoyed a difficult time as Paulo Dybala, because obviously he's been in and out of the squad, and obviously since the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo last summer, he's found game time very difficult. But Paulo Dybala's 25 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. But the question is, has he got the capabilities? Has he got the attributes to succeed in the Premier League? Can he exceed expectation levels in the Premier League? And I've got concerns about Paulo Dybala, but I know he can still score goals. Paulo Dybala, but if he came to Manchester United and he scored goals whilst he was adapting other areas of his game, that would be currently good enough. So Man United have been in talks. It came out a while back saying that Man United were in talks, with Juventus over a potential move for Dybala, and it did say the quoted fee was around £85 million pounds. As you all know, there was talks as well. Was it? I think it was a week or so ago. It might have been 2 weeks ago now, of Sanchez and Paulo Dybala as a potential swap deal. We do know that swap deals are very rare, to the highest level of the game. But he did say initially that Man United, could use Sanchez, to currently sign Paulo Dybala. And obviously we would identify Paul Dybala as a potential replacement for Romelu Lukaku. Because obviously, Lukaku has been subjected to quite a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, we do know he's been linked with the likes of Inter Milan and Juventus as Romelu Lukaku. And I think he needs to leave Manchester United. And obviously, we'll be looking to recoup the initial £75 million. We did pay for him a couple of years ago. Well, we paid £75 million. Add-ons were included in the deal. So I think the add-ons were £15 million. So that was it to £90 million. He's still got 3 years left on his contract. And he's still got 3 years left on his contract. And he's on about £250,000 a week, is Romelu Lukaku. But I think he did really well in his first season, did Lukaku. He scored 27 goals in all competitions, but he's failed to replicate that throughout the course of this season, because initially he has lost his place in the team. But I've got reservations about him. His first touch concerns me. He hasn't got that endless potential. He's finishing. He hasn't got that finishing asset. Romelu Lukaku. He can play better sometimes. When he's getting that support up front, he can look a bit more effective. But I just don't think he's got the capabilities, to play to that highest to play, to the highest level, Romelu Lukaku. And I've got strong concerns about him. But Lukaku's agent had revealed a while back that his future is very open. But he's still got a great pedigree in the Premier League, because he's got now a lot of years of experience under his belt in the Premier League, and he knows the Premier League inside out. But he's still scored a lot of goals in the Premier League. But I think we do potentially need to get rid of him. So we could identify Dybala as a replacement for Romelu Lukaku. But so talking about Alexis Sanchez now, as you all know, it's looking likely he's going to be leaving the club, which is very good news, because obviously he's one of the problematic players, is Alexis Sanchez. Now, obviously Manchester United can't get rid of Sanchez permanently, based on his substantial wages he's on. Obviously he's on £400,000 a week, rising up to a potential £500,000 a week, based on image rights, based on the bonuses and all that. It adds up to around £500,000 a week, and his wages are having a really bad effect on the club. Really having a bad effect on the club. He's the highest paid player at the club. He's the highest paid player in the Premier League. And I wish we could get rid of him permanently, but we can't, because obviously no team can afford to pay his wages off. So as we all do know, reflecting back, was it last week or something like that Sanchez's agent had been in Italy, because obviously Juventus and Inter Milan had been in negotiations with his agent, because obviously it's Juventus and Inter Milan that have expressed their interest in Alexis Sanchez. So I think Man United are intending on letting him go on a long season loan with either Juventus or Inter Milan. And of course Manchester United are willing to pay half of his wages off, so we can sanction him off. So yeah, I think I haven't heard much more news about it from what I've seen anywhere. But I think Manchester United are willing to let him go on a long season loan. But I think from my own perspective, I think it's still Juventus and Inter Milan that are fighting it out for him. But he hasn't exceeded expectation levels at Manchester United, Sanchez, as I thought he would have done. Because I thought he'd been a fundamental player for us. Regarding what he did at Arsenal. Obviously he played under Pep Guardiola when he was younger, Alexis Sanchez at Barcelona. But he just hasn't done it at Manchester United. And at Manchester United, he's become very injury prone. He's sustained about 4 injuries now at Manchester United. He's been here about 16 months now, Alexis Sanchez. We know mainly he hasn't been first choice, but when he's been given the opportunity, he's just looked so restricted, just looks as though he hasn't been getting that freedom and hasn't currently settled in as a Manchester United player. So yeah, I think we're willing to let him go on loan. He has had experience of playing in Italy when he was a lot younger, so looking likely next season he will be applying his trade in Italy with either Inter Milan or Juventus. What other news here? Other potential news to give you an update on as well, as I have been updating you in the last couple of days in regards to Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid. Reportedly Manchester United are interested in him. He is a defensive midfielder. He's Thomas Partey, central defensive midfielder, and obviously that's one of the priority areas where Manchester United do need to bolster up. Obviously Fellaini left in January. Obviously we've got the likes of Nemanja Matic, but he's not reliable enough, and I don't like his work ethic isn't good enough. He's too slow, too ineffective in that midfield. Got strong reservations about him. Plus, he's aging up. He's Nemanja Matic, and he's one of the players I do want to leave Manchester United. But obviously, he's obviously not going to be here next season. I know he's got years of experience under his belt in the Premier League as Matic and all that, and he has proven himself in the Premier League. And in some games, he has demonstrated that he can play really well. But I've got strong reservations about him, and I do believe we need a centre defensive midfielder that's fast and tenacious. So, do you believe that this Thomas Partey, would be the right solution? I don't really know much about the player. I know his release clause is 42 or is it 43 million pounds in his contract with Atletico Madrid. He's 25 years of age, but I don't really know much about him. He has spent the majority of his career with Atletico Madrid, and so there has been talks about him going on. But like I said, I don't really know much about the player, but I know Arsenal are in for him. Manchester United are also in for him, because I do believe we need new additions in that midfield. If Pogba goes, which is looking very, very likely, we're going to need a replacement for Ander Herrera. So we probably would see Thomas, Partey as a potential replacement for Ander Herrera. So there has been talks about him going on. Obviously, as you all know, reports were coming out yesterday in regards to Isco from Real Madrid. Now, reportedly Real Madrid could actually, possibly offload Isco this summer, to make some room, for some new arrivals, because obviously Real Madrid have got a lot of players on their agenda, of course. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane has identified his two main targets, and that's obviously Paul Pogba and Chelsea's Eden Hazard. And I think these players that are expected, to depart Real Madrid this summer. Obviously, Gareth Bale is one of them included. And so talking about this Isco, so it does say that the likes of Man United and Manchester City have been interested in him. And I think it did say that Man United and Manchester City are waiting on a decision from Real Madrid, whether they're selling him or not. I don't see how Isco, would fit Manchester United's system, to be quite honest with you. I think he probably would fit Manchester United's system, but I don't think he'd fit Manchester United's system. And don't get me wrong, I think Isco is a very, very good player. He is an attacking midfielder. I think that's where he primarily plays. He has played in other positions in the past, but I think he's primarily an attacking midfielder. Is Isco. He is at age 27, so he is highly experienced. He has still got quite a lot of development in him. Obviously, so far Isco has spent the entirety of his career in Spain. Obviously, he's been with Real Madrid about 6 years now. Is Isco. He's obviously he's won a lot of silverware with them. He's won including 4 Champions Leagues. I think he's made about 277 appearances for Real Madrid in all competitions. Is Isco. I think Real Madrid paid just under 20, I think it was around 27 million pounds, they paid for Malaga, back in 2013. But I do really, really like Isco. So I think it also said that PSG have also expressed their interest in the player. But if Real Madrid do decide to sell him this summer, he is going to cost you around 100 million pounds, probably even more than 100 million pounds. Is Isco, and I think Manchester United have been linked to him in the past a couple of times. But he is now reportedly on Manchester City's agenda. And I do believe if he came to the Premier League, he ripped the Premier League apart. I think he's got all the capabilities and attributes, to succeed in the Premier League, and I think he'd definitely, exceed expectation levels in the Premier League, with Isco. But Isco throughout the course of this season has enjoyed a very, very difficult time. Obviously he's been mainly on the bench, hasn't really been given the chance, especially under Santiago Solari. He was a surplus to requirements, was currently Isco. So this is why there's been, there's been some transfer speculation of him possibly leaving, Real Madrid this summer, because obviously Real Madrid may need to offload him, to currently, bring some new arrivals in. But I'd probably, I'd rather spend that £100 million on, Benfica's Joe Felix, because obviously, he's on a Manchester United agenda, is Joe Felix, and I do really, really like Joe Felix, as you all know. It does say now Manchester United, we have stepped our interest up in Joe Felix. His initial buyout clause is around £100 million. It does say Manchester United are prepared to trigger his current buyout clause. Joe Felix has attracted interest, from a number of clubs based on his fantastic performances throughout the course of this season with Benfica. Obviously, this is only I think this has only been his first. His first season in the senior squad with Benfica. As you all know, he's yet to make his senior debut with Portugal. Only 19 years of age. Got a hell of a lot of development in him, and I do believe if he came to the Premier League, it would take his career to the next level, of course. But yeah, I think he's been absolutely fantastic. And if he came to Manchester United, I do believe he'd be a fundamental player, and I do believe he can emulate into one of the best players in the world. I don't think he can emulate into like a Ronaldo or a Messi or a Neymar, Joe Felix, but I do believe he can become one of the best players in the world, because he can score goals, he can provide, he's got immense talent, he's primarily an attacking midfielder, and I think he can also play as a winner, he can play as a secondary striker and all that, so he is very, very versatile is this player, but he is going to cost you quite a bit of money, is this Joe Felix, because his buyout clause is around £100 million in his contract with Benfica. But Man United have been scouting this player, for months now, absolutely months. He said over the course of the weekend, Man United yet again instructed scouts, to keep a close eye out on the player. I think also City have been in for him. City have been in for him. Liverpool had a big turn down for him in January. I think also Real Madrid have expressed their interest in the player. So yeah, I do really like him, as you all know, and I'd love him, to come to Manchester United. And obviously, Bruno Fernandes, I'd also, love him to come to Manchester United. And I'd love, Bruno Fernandes and Joe Felix to come to Manchester United. But I don't see us, getting both of them. We may get one of them, but I don't see us, getting both of them, to be quite honest with you. Bruno Fernandes is primarily an attacking midfielder. I think it did say Sporting Lisbon want around £60 million for Bruno Fernandes. And I think his initial release clause is around 85, or is it £86 million, Bruno Fernandes. But very good. Can score goals, got lots of assists in him, and he's been fantastic in his couple of years with Sporting Lisbon. But Manchester United have been heavily linked to him, and he's been on Manchester United's agenda now for quite some time, as Bruno Fernandes. Also, Manchester City had expressed their interest in Bruno Fernandes. But yes, City have definitely been linked with him. Obviously, going back a couple of weeks ago, it did say City were close to finalising a deal for him, and City were in talks with Sporting Lisbon over the deal with around £40 million. For Bruno Fernandes, and it did say City willing to offer one or two of their players as part of the deal, and it allegedly said then City currently opted out of the race, for Bruno Fernandes. But I do really like him, and he's only 24 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him, and I think he'd be the right solution for Manchester United. Primarily an attacking midfielder, and I think he would produce and deliver the same element of performances if he came to the Premier League. What he's been doing in his couple of seasons with Sporting Lisbon. Obviously had a lot of experience of playing in Italy. When he was younger, with the likes of Sampdoria, with the likes of Londonese. So I think he would be fantastic for Manchester United with Bruno Fernandes. Still think he's on the contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. But I like them both, Bruno Fernandes and Joe Felix. They're both Portuguese. They're both tied up in Portugal very well. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes is more experienced than Joe Felix. So obviously, Joe Felix is 19. Bruno Fernandes is 24. So obviously, Bruno Fernandes is 5 years older than Joe Felix. But yeah, I definitely like both players. So he's been a name that's been currently mentioned. As I did give me update yesterday in regards to what was going on with Borussia Dortmund's Jadon Sancho. Now obviously we do know Jadon Sancho obviously was the club's number one priority target for a very long time. Some now reportedly though, as I actually was speaking with you guys yesterday, that some Manchester United fans now are convinced that Jadon Sancho's summer transfer is back on reportedly because yesterday, as it did currently confirm that Borussia Dortmund had currently announced the signings of Thorgan Hazard from Borussia Mönchengladbach and Julian Braun as well. And I think they are both winners. So now obviously Borussia Dortmund getting these two players in. Some Manchester United fans are convinced that Jadon Sancho will leave the club this summer, but I don't see it currently mapping, to be quite honest. I don't think it's a change of scenery. I still think Jadon Sancho is fully committed to Borussia Dortmund. I think the main reason why I don't think Jadon Sancho is going to come to Manchester United because obviously based on our failure to get Champions League football for next season, I think this is the main factor reason why Jadon Sancho was not willing to leave Dortmund and come to Manchester United. But yeah, I think he's intending on spending another season with Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, as this did currently confirm, Manchester United were willing to pay his £100 million valuation, as you were, Mal, currently we're willing to pay his £100 million valuation because we've got the financial power to meet that. But I think Jadon Sancho wants to remain loyal to Borussia Dortmund, and I do believe if Jadon Sancho came back to the Premier League, it'd help him with his developing process. It would create a better platform for him, Jadon Sancho, and I think it would be very good for him because I'd love us to get a player of his quality. But yeah, it's looking likely our move is in serious jeopardy, for Jadon Sancho. But yeah. And he's been at Borussia Dortmund a couple of seasons. He has been in the limelight at Borussia Dortmund. He's been absolutely fantastic. Can score goals, can provide, can play between the bylines well. Can put crosses into the box. And he definitely, would be the right solution for Manchester United. Only 19 years of age. Still got a hell of a lot of development in him. And looking at it from a financial point of view and Borussia Dortmund perspective, they'd make a huge profit on the player. If they were willing to currently let him go, because they got him from next to no. They only got him for around £7 or £8 million, was it, for Manchester City a couple of seasons ago. And the main reason why he actually left City a couple of seasons ago, because obviously he didn't really get the opportunity, wasn't guaranteed to get to play regularly with Manchester City, and this is why he left City and of course went to Borussia Dortmund. But he's under contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2022. But I don't see us getting Jadon Sancho. Not this summer, maybe in the future, but not this summer. I don't see us getting a deal over the line for him. But Borussia Dortmund themselves are very convinced he will stay Borussia Borussia Dortmund. So I think he's obviously in it with Jadon Sancho that he's going to stay at Borussia Dortmund at least for another season. So obviously now he's no longer the club's number one priority target. And as you all know, we do need a central defender, and I do believe we need two central defenders, and we need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. Now, obviously, there's been quite a lot of central defenders on Manchester United's agenda. Obviously, now we have put Koulibaly as our number one target for the summer. Obviously, reports came out from Italy, a couple of days ago, saying that Manchester United had a bid turned down of around 95 million pounds for Koulibaly. Obviously, either way, we're going to have to break the world transfer record, for Koulibaly, if we've got any chance of getting a deal over the line for him. So I think this means we'd have to probably pay around 120 or 130 million pounds, to tempt, Napoli to do any business with the player. But I don't think Man United, would be willing to pay that figure of 120 or 130 million pounds. This is why we came in with a bid of around 90 odd million pounds, to try and convince Napoli to let him go. But Napoli reportedly turned down this bid. But obviously, he's been on Manchester United's agenda for quite some time. We've been long admirers of the player. Obviously, us being linked with Koulibaly, obviously started under Jose Mourinho last summer. That's when the process started, with the transfer speculation about Koulibaly. And obviously, since that point, the rumours have continued to persist. But I think reflecting back last year that we did have 3 bids turned down for Koulibaly. I think we also had a £95 million bid turned down for him last year. But it would dramatically improve us defensively. Really, really would. He's got all the capabilities and all the attributes to succeed in the Premier League. He's highly experienced. He's 27, nearly 28 years of age. Very good in the air, tenacious, holds his line very, very well. His distribution's absolutely fantastic. So I'd love, Koulibaly, to come to Manchester United. I think he has got a contract with Napoli until 2023. I think recently, Carlo Ancelotti regarded him as one of the best centre backs in the world. I don't think he is the best, but I think he's one of the best. I'd probably say he's in the top 4 or the top 5. Is Koulibaly. But yeah. And I think he's been at Napoli now, 5 seasons? I think he's made about 211, about 200 odd appearances in all competitions for Napoli. So I don't know what's happening with him at the moment. But positive stories, were coming out about, this situation the other week. But he is still on Manchester United's agenda. But obviously we didn't get our number one priority targets last summer anywhere. Because obviously, we didn't get as proud to targets last summer because obviously the board weren't back in the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to come into the club, and obviously our priority was to recommend a centre back to come in. And talking about De Ligt, he's been on Manchester United's agenda. The stories I've been hearing about that from De Ligt's perspective, I think his preferred destination is Barcelona, as he has currently confirmed. But he has attracted interest from the likes of my club, Man United. Also, Liverpool have been linked with De Ligt. I think it also that Manchester City have expressed their interest there in the player. But I think it's confirmed that he will be making the move to Barcelona, where will De Ligt. And obviously, Barcelona have been amongst the favourites, to get a deal over the line for De Ligt. And don't get me wrong, I really, really like De Ligt. I think he's a really, really good central defender, holds his line, really, really well. He's also, very, very good in the air, he's De Ligt, and he's very, very tall, which is very, very beneficial. But I do believe he's a very, very good central defender, and I do believe he'd be a good leader in our back line, with De Ligt if he was to come to Manchester United. But he's not going to come cheap. You won't have to probably break the world transfer record to get him, but I think he's initially valued at around £65 million. Is De Ligt, but I think he's going to be making a move to Barcelona. I think the main reason why De Ligt wants to go to Barcelona so he can reunite with his teammate Frankie de Jong. Obviously, Barcelona agreed this deal. Barcelona agreed, I think they agreed this deal with Ajax, was it in January or was it last summer, if I can remember. I think the fee was around 65 or 75 million that had currently been agreed. So they have got Frankie de Jong on the board, and they're also on the verge of currently getting De Ligt. But I think the main reason why Liverpool were interested in De Ligt, because obviously, because of Virgil van Dijk, and Virgil van Dijk and De Ligt know each other really, really well. Obviously, they're both Dutch, they both play in the Netherlands national team, but Liverpool don't even need a central defender. They've got Virgil van Dijk, 75 million, who's done really, really well for them. They've obviously got the likes of Joe Gomez, they've got the likes of Joe Matthews, so Liverpool don't even need a current central defender. So I think it did then industry say that Liverpool have opted out of the race, for De Ligt. But yeah, Man United we've expressed our interest in the player, and I really, really like him. I do really, really like him. Obviously, so far he has spent the entirety of his career with Ajax. He has had 3 years worth of experience in their senior squad, because obviously I think he made made his senior debut at the age of 16. So he has been an Ajax player, you know, since a child. He has become an integral part of their team as De Ligt. And I think De Ligt became more of a first team starter, you know, when Davinson Sanchez, you know, left the Tottenham, you know, back in 2017. And yeah, so he can leave Ajax with his head held up high. Obviously, you know, he got his accomplishment. Obviously, you know, winning the domestic double this season with Ajax, including their devised title for the first time in 5 seasons, and obviously progressing his team to the Champions League semi-final, plus scoring in the Champions League semi-final, you know, De Ligt. So I still believe, for my own preference, he will be making the move to Barcelona. But obviously, going back quite a few weeks back, Edwin van der Sar, who's currently the CEO of Ajax, he came out and he basically said that he's very convinced that De Ligt will depart Ajax, and he said he thinks he'll have a move to England or Spain. But yeah, it's looking like he's going to be going out to Spain. But this is going to take his career to the next level. So it'll be looking like he will be playing his trade in Spain next season, according to recent reports. That he's made his admission, and he wants to make the move to Barcelona. So he's turned down the chances of coming to United. He's turned down the chances of going to Liverpool. So yeah. And other defenders that, you know, Man United have been interesting. Obviously, it got revealed about Rafael Varane a couple of days ago. Obviously, saying that he's committed to Real Madrid and he's intending on spending. He's confirmed he's going to be at Real Madrid next season. Rafael Varane. After there was actually a speculation. Was it last month, saying that he was seeking a new challenge, and I think he did say he was interested in leaving Real Madrid last month. Rafael Varane. But I think there's been a change of scenery now. You know, Rafael Varane, you know, has confirmed. He wants to stay at Real Madrid, but we do know he has been on Manchester United's agenda as Rafael Varane. He is now 26 years of age. I think he's just turned 26. Rafael Varane, and yeah, he would be fantastic. But he's got a huge release clause in his deal with Real Madrid. I think his release clause is around £429 million. But he's going to cost you either way. Even if he was for sale, he's going to cost you a hell of a lot of money. Even without the release clause triggered, he's going to cost you probably way over £100 million. Is Rafael Varane, but I do really like him. You know, he has spent the majority of his career with Real Madrid. He has spent 8 seasons there, and he's been fantastic, absolutely fantastic indeed. You know, it's incredible, you know, what he's won as a 26-year-old. He's under contract with Real Madrid until 2022, but reads his game very well. He's well composed, holds his line very well, and he's obviously never played in the Premier League, but as I said, it's confirmed he wants to stay with Real Madrid, does Rafael Varane. And, you know, Toby Alderweireld, I don't think he'll be coming because obviously, you know, the club are not intending on bringing any short-term players in. So we're not going to be bringing, Toby Alderweireld in. I know he's available for around £25 million this summer because that's obviously, you know, his release clause. But I don't see, you know, bringing Toby Alderweireld in because obviously he's aging up. He's 30 years of age. And I've got reservations about him now. You know, he has lost that yard of pace. So, yeah, I don't see, you know, bringing Toby Alderweireld in, even though there has been, transfer speculation going on about it before. And he has got years of experience in the Premier League, you know, under his belt. And looking at it from a financial point of view, he's a cheaper alternative to likes of the Koulibalys and, you know, the Harry Maguires and all that, and, you know, the De Ligts. But as I said, nowhere near in the same calibre or level. So I don't see us, you know, getting Toby Alderweireld in. So yeah, there's a lot of central defenders on our current agenda, of course. Obviously about Daniel James. Obviously, yeah, he's going to be looking like he's going to be our first signing this summer. Is Daniel James. Obviously, I don't think the initial fee has been agreed yet, as I initially thought it had been agreed, because some reports did say that a fee had been agreed, and it did say the quoted fee was around £15 million. But yeah, the personal terms have been agreed. You know, BBC Sport reported yesterday saying that Man United are in like more extensive talks now, you know, to try and come to an agreement on a fee. So Man United are in talks, you know, about Daniel James, but the personal terms have been agreed, but a fee's not yet been agreed. So I do believe the fee will probably be around £15 million. If there is any add-ons included, it'll probably maybe rise it to around it'll rise it up to about £20 million. But yeah, Daniel James, I've got some concerns about Daniel James and reservations, because, you know, when it comes to his defensive contribution, it concerns me. You know, he's not really good at tracking back. You know, he's not really good in the air. But the positive I've got about him, you know, he's very fast. He can score goals. He's good at cutting in from the flank. He's Daniel James. But yeah, only 21 years of age, a Welsh international. You know, still got a lot of years ahead of him, and he's available for a reasonable figure. And as I did say, it's not always about, you know, getting the Galactico players. It's not all about spending big on players, because that doesn't always guarantee you success, and doesn't always get you in that commanding position where you currently want to be. And obviously, this club has got a history of spending big on players, as you all currently know, and it hasn't potentially, you know, got us in that position where we currently should be. But yeah, this This oh god, yeah. This delay, sorry, not delay. This Daniel James, yes. So he's going to be our first signing for this summer. He has only got a year left on his deal with Swansea City as Daniel James. He has played over 30 odd games this season for Swansea. I think Brighton, came in right at the final hurdle for Daniel James, but I think from Daniel James's perspective, his preferred destination is Manchester United. Obviously, he attracted interest from Leeds. Obviously, Everton were also in there for him. Obviously, as you all know, he's primarily a winger. He's supposed to be more effective from that left-hand side. Is Daniel James. But the question is, has he got the ability? Has he got the minerals, to make it to the highest level? Can he exceed expectation levels in the Premier League? Because obviously he hasn't played to the highest level yet. Because obviously he is a Championship player, and obviously we are getting him from a lower division, so that potentially does concern me. But yeah, give him the opportunity. It hasn't been as finalised as yet, but I think we will end up getting a deal over the line for Daniel James. I think he can also play as an attacking midfielder, but I think primarily a winner. But he is a low expectation, to be quite honest with you. He is a surprise solution. So hopefully when he comes to Manchester United, he can deliver the goods. And yeah, that's really mainly everything, to give you a current update on. The main part of this video was to give you an update on in regard to Pedro from Fluminense. Reports are coming out. I think this is coming out from Globally Sport, saying that Manchester United have made contact with Fluminense over the potential move for Pedro. Obviously, as Fluminense have confirmed, they're not willing to sell him up until after their presidential election on June the 8th. They're not willing to do any business until after June the 8th. Obviously, going back last year, he was on the verge of joining Real Madrid, but due to his knee ligament injury he had currently sustained, his move to Real Madrid never ever materialised, of course. I think he did say Manchester United have been actually linked with this player in the past, but he's 21 years of age. I think he's available for around 22 million pound the quoted fee. But yeah, there has been talks about him currently going on. So anyway, guys, drop your comments below on the channel. If you do consider a subscriber to the channel, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.